Vandeham Shri Guru Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurum
Hare Krishna, everyone. So, welcome back to the 30th episode of Pariprashna, a special podcast where we have been systematically discussing scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So, how have you been? I know it's been a while. We took a short break after finishing our discussions on Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1. So, in this episode, that is episode number 30, we are about to start our discussion on a brand new canto, that is canto number 2, chapter 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, in this new avatar of Pariprashna, what is going to remain same and what is going to be different? Well, what will be same are the same speakers. So, we have this great fortune of continuing to hear and learn from His Holiness Bhakti Padma Saurav Pracharak Swami Maharaj, his fresh perspectives, deep insights, and his uncanny ability to take these complex subject matters and explain in a way where we can understand it in a simple way with beautiful examples. So, that is going to continue. And from my end, I'm going to try my very best to come up with thought-provoking questions that are relevant and useful, I hope, for all of us. So, what is going to change in this particular new avatar of Pariprashna is that we are going to come up with a slightly new, different format. So, we are going to have 4 important segments. So, segment 1 is going to be called Vihangavalokana. So, Vihangavalokana is the bird's overview of the entire chapter. So, we are going to briefly touch upon the various sections from each chapter. So, you get an overall understanding of what is going on in this chapter, how does it fit into what has happened previously, and what is about to come next. And in the second section, which is called Vichara Manthana, so this is where we will maybe choose 1 or 2 shlokas from that particular chapter, which is very prominent, or maybe a certain concept or a principle from that particular chapter, and try to go a little deeper into it. And then followed by the third section, which is called Anushilana, the practical application. So what can we do? What can we take away from the discussion in terms of what can we change in terms of our thinking and speech and action, behavior, and things like that. And then finally, to wrap it up, we will still continue with our fun rapid fire segment called the Brahmastra section. So this is how the same speakers, but a slightly different format. This is what we are going to do continuing forward. So without further ado, let us continue our discussion. Let us explore Canto 2 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 1, which is titled The First Step in God Realization. So Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
So Maharaj, first of all, thank you for continuing to be part of this Pariprashna journey. So we are truly blessed to hear from you. Really appreciate your generosity of time and sharing the wisdom. So Maharaj, in the bigger context, given that there are 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, how does Canto 2 fit into this? What is the speciality? What is the prominent feature of Canto 2 of Srimad Bhagavatam?
The Canto 2 of Srimad Bhagavatam has some very interesting specialities. The first speciality is actually in the last chapter of the Bhagavatam, 10th canto of Bhagavatam. That is the description of the 10 subject matters of Bhagavatam. This is the very interesting and the most important speciality because Bhagavatam is called Mahapurana because it has got 10 subject matters. And then immediately after mentioning the names of the 10 different subject matters, Satra Sargo Visargascha Sthanam Boshanam Utaya Manmantara Ishanugata Nirodho Mukti Rashraya. The second verse of the 10th chapter, second verse, the second canto, says Dashamascha Vishuddhartha Namanami Lakshanam Varnayanti Mahatmana Shtenathena Chanjasa. The purpose of the 9 subject matters of Bhagavatam, the first 9 subject matters of Bhagavatam, is to specifically elaborate on the 10th subject matter of Bhagavatam, that is Ashraya, that is Krishna.
Okay.
So essentially, there is only one subject matter of Bhagavatam, that is Ashraya Tattva, that is Krishna. So this is the first speciality, which is there in the 10th chapter. In the previous chapter, to the 10th chapter, that is the 9th chapter, there is another speciality, that is Krishna speaking 4 verses, which is known as Chatushloki Bhagavatam to Brahma. So Krishna Brahma Samvada you will find in the 9th chapter of the 10th canto, second canto of Bhagavatam. Ameva Samevagre Nani Satastaram Paschadam Sovishisheta Sahasmiham. In this way, 4 verses. So this is the second speciality. The whole Bhagavatam is nothing but the expansion of these 4 verses. The very name Bhagavatam is called Bhagavatam is because Bhagavata yena uditaha Bhagavataha. The thing which is spoken by the Lord to Brahma, that is why it is known as Bhagavatam. Of course, the word Bhagavatam has got many meanings. One of the meanings is something which is spoken directly by the Lord to Brahma. So this is the second speciality, where the entire Bhagavatam is mentioned in a nutshell in 4 verses, very complicated 4 verses, and directly nobody can understand that. It has to have a good interpretation and explanation for it. Now the third speciality of the second canto of Bhagavatam is Brahma Narada Samvad. Whatever Krishna spoke to Brahma, Brahma spoke to Narada. So this we find in the 3 chapters of the second canto of Bhagavatam. So the second canto of Bhagavatam, we have these 3 chapters, 5, 6, 7. These 3 chapters you will find Brahma and conversation between Brahma and Narada. Narada Brahma Samvada. And also there is a very special speciality, that is Parikshit Maharaj asking some very interesting questions. That is the 4th speciality of the second canto of Bhagavatam. So in the beginning, in the first few chapters, or the first 3 chapters of Bhagavatam, there is also a description of the parampara of Srimad Bhagavatam, how this Bhagavatam comes from Narayana himself. But they are all the secondary aspects. The primary are the 4 aspects in these in the second canto. The 10th chapter, which enumerates the 10 subject matters. 9th chapter, which talks about the 4 verses originally spoken by Krishna to Brahma, and Brahma speaking to Narada in 3 chapters, and Parikshit Maharaj asking questions, which becomes the basis of the 3rd and the 4th canto of Bhagavatam. So in this way, we have a overview of the second canto of Bhagavatam.
Wonderful, Maharaj. That's a great explanation. So now starting this chapter 1 of Canto 2, so the title is called The First Step in God Realization. So before we understand what that first step is, if you can please enlighten us, what is actually God realization? Is it a certain feeling? Is it about having a certain type of knowledge? Is it an experience? So what is God realization?
We should know that in the second canto, Parikshit Maharaj, whatever question he asked in the first canto, in the last chapter, Sukadeva Goswami starts speaking. So if you say Bhagavatam was spoken by Sukadeva Goswami, so it actually starts in the second canto of Bhagavatam.
Right.
Now, while glorifying Sukadeva Goswami, Sutta Goswami had told, Yes Svanubhava Makilashtisaramekam Adhyatma Deepam Atitirshitam Tamondham Sansarinam Karunayah Purana Guhyam Tam Vyasasunupayami Guru Muninam. This is one of the pranam mantras, one of the 2 pranam mantras of pranam mantras to Sukadeva Goswami by Sutta Goswami.
Okay.
So in that pranam mantra, he has addressed Sukadeva Goswami as one who has swa anubhava, akila shruti saram ekam. One who has experienced, one who did the anubhava. Anubhava means experience, God realization. And how do you get God realization? It is not by some strange meditation, but it is by scriptures. Krishna, God, has appeared in the form of scriptures. So, study of scriptures and experiencing the scriptures or relishing the scriptures is called God realization.
Okay.
It is not that you see some light in the mind or you see some form in your dreams. No, no, no.
Mm.
This is the most practical understanding of God realization because God is in the form of scriptures.
Okay.
Actually, everybody is realizing God according to their own whims and fancies.
Mm.
But who is God is described in the scriptures, and God has come in the form of scriptures. So if you want to know who is really God, it is only through scriptures by you can understand God.
Mm.
These days, there is a fancy that I want God. I want to know God, but scriptures I don't want.
Mm.
That is impossible. People are trying to do some meditation to realize God. I went to the forest to realize God.
Mm.
I did meditation for 10 years. Oh, my Guruji doesn't speak. He's meditating, he's contemplating. This is all bogus. It's all different forms of atheism. The so-called meditation, the so-called different yogas, which talk about God realization, is only cheating.
Mm.
The real God realization starts with study of scriptures, study of Srimad Bhagavatam, study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is the essence of the Veda.
Mm.
So, God realization means one who actually studies the scriptures. The scripture of Bhagavatam starts in the second canto, in one sense, because Sukadeva Goswami starts speaking his realization. So, this is called God realization. Study of scriptures and repeatedly reciting the scriptures and hearing the vyakhyanas on the scriptures and relishing the vyakhyanas, the commentaries, the lectures on the scriptures.
Mm.
That is called God realization. To that extent you relish hearing Bhagavatam, to that extent you are relishing Krishna.
Mm. Mm.
And that relishment is called God realization.
Wow. Mm. Okay. Okay. Wonderful, Maharaj. So let's go back to Canto 1, the last chapter that was chapter 19, in shlokas 37 and 38. So Parikshit Maharaj asked his question, so I'll just read the exact translation. So this is 1.19.37. You are the spiritual master of great saints and devotees. I am therefore begging you to show the way of perfection for all persons, and especially for one who is about to die. And the next shloka, shloka 38. Please let me know what a man should hear, chant, remember, and worship, and also what he should not do. Please explain all this to me. So, in response to this, Maharaj, after this invocation of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, the very first verse here, I'll just quote the shloka and then ask. Shri Shuka Uvacha Variyan Eshate Prashnaha Kruto Lokahitam Nrapa Atmavid Sammatah Pumsam Shrotavyadishu Yah Paraha. So Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, My dear king, your question is glorious because it is very beneficial to all kinds of people. The answer to this question is the prime subject matter for hearing and it is approved by all transcendentalists. So this word Maharaj Variyan, where Shukadeva Goswami is saying glorious. So what qualifies Parikshit Maharaj's question as glorious?
Actually, the Bhagavatam first canto, first chapter also starts with the same questions, similar questions. Rather.
Mm-hmm.
Then the first question, which was asked by the sages of Naimisharanya, that Yashreyaha, Bhurini bhuri karvani shotavyani bhagasha atassadhyatsaram samudratmanishya bhuri bhadraya bhutananam inatma suprasidati. This is the second question. The first question is tatatranjasa vishman bhavatadi vinischitam pumsam ekanta shreya.
Okay.
Tanna samshitam arhasi. Pumsam ekanta shreya. What is the thing which is beneficial for the entire mankind? Please explain to us.
Right.
Which is that one thing which is beneficial for the entire mankind?
Mm-hmm.
Answering these two questions, Sutta Goswami told, Yatkritaha Krishna samprashno yenatma suprasidati.
Okay.
Since your questions are all regarding Krishna, are in connection with Krishna, it is Atma suprasidati. It is satisfying to the soul. So Sukadeva Goswami also was so happy. He rejoiced at the questions asked by Parikshit Maharaj, because the questions asked by Parikshit Maharaj, they are in connection with Krishna. They are not material questions. They are spiritual. And he clearly says these questions are approved by the sages.
Yes.
Atmavit sammataha pumsam. Atmavit sammataha. Sammataha means they are approved by the sages, approved by the great personalities. What to speak of answers? Sukadeva Goswami says, the questions are in itself very relishable. So questions, hearing the questions itself is very auspicious. The questions should be heard, the questions should be chanted, and the questions should be remembered.
Wow.
Then, if that is the case, then what to speak of the answers? So that is why Sukadeva Goswami was so happy to hear the questions by Parikshit Maharaj, because the questions are in connection with Krishna.
Okay.
Sometimes or many times speakers, after speaking for an hour or so, they ask any questions. If the audience don't ask any questions, then they become very dejected. Even one person asks one question, the speaker becomes very happy. So Sukadeva Goswami became very happy just by hearing the questions by Parikshit Maharaj. Just imagine how much Sukadeva Goswami would be relishing to answer those questions. So just by hearing questions, even though they don't know the answers, that will make the lives of the people very successful. That is the potency within these questions. That is the speciality. These questions purify all the three worlds. That is also described in the 10th Canto of Bhagavatam, where Parikshit Maharaj, when he asked these questions regarding Krishna, 6 questions were asked by Parikshit Maharaj in the first chapter of 2nd Canto. Then Sukadeva Goswami, he says that Vasudeva Kata Prashna Pumsantrin Punatihi Vaktaram Rachakam Stotrim Tatpada Salilam Yatha. Like Ganga purifies the three worlds, or the Padotaka, Vishnu Padotaka Tirtha, it purifies one who drinks, one who puts on the head, one who does both. In the same way, one who asks questions is purified, one who hears the answers to the questions purified, and one who speaks the answer is also purified. So all the three kinds of people connected to Krishna Katha are purified. So that's why these questions have great significance, because ultimately they are Yatkritaha Krishna Samprashnaha. So this is Pariprashna from the Bhagavad Gita. You took that word Pariprashna.
Yeah.
From the Bhagavatam point of view, it will be actually Samprashna.
Wonderful. Very nice. So, Maharaj, in this first section of this chapter, that is shlokas 1 to 11, Sukadeva Goswami is establishing the supremacy of bhakti in answering Parikshit Maharaj's question. But I really find it quite intriguing the way he starts off. As soon as he glorifies Maharaj Parikshit's question, in the next three shlokas, shlokas 2, 3, and 4, he begins. I remember you telling previously that sadhu means who cuts. He speaks as it is, he calls a spade a spade. And right in the beginning, Shukadeva Goswami gives us a taste for that. He begins by critiquing material life in such a blunt way, and he is drawing such interesting parallels between Grihamedi and Grihastha. And then he goes on to establish the supremacy of bhakti. So when Parikshit Maharaj asked what is to be chanted, what is to be heard, and what is to be remembered, it's super interesting that Shukadeva Goswami first tells what is not to be heard, what is not to be remembered. So if you can please throw some light on this.
Yeah. Like a doctor, when a patient goes to the doctor says, "Hey, what you have eaten?" And he gives a reason for your sickness. And then he talks about the things what you're supposed to do to get out of the sickness. Why is it done? Because if you take the medicines and continue the cause of the sickness also, then your medicines will have no effect. That is why, first, what are the precautions that has to be given? And then the things which are supposed to be done are to be given. To give you a small example, there is a fire and there is a firefighting person who is trying to go and extinguish the fire. So before he goes in the house and tries to extinguish the fire, he is supposed to wear the required dress, protective dress, so that he can do the firefighting properly. So now, first you have to protect yourself to protect others. First, you have to protect yourself from the things which are going to harm you, and then you can think of becoming better in your health, etc. Same way, we are supposed to. Sukadeva Goswami also told what you are not supposed to do, and then he talks about what you're supposed to do. That is why this format is always there.
Okay. So very nice, Maharaj. So now jumping to fifth shloka. Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Harihi Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Smartavyascha Cheta Bhayam. O descendant of King Bharata, one who desires to be free from all miseries must hear about, glorify, and also remember the personality of Godhead, who is the super soul, the controller, and the savior from all miseries. So here now, Tasmad, therefore. So Shukadeva Goswami is saying what one has to hear, chant, and remember. So Maharaj here, he's saying Abhayam. So to become Abhayam, to become free from fear. So I have two questions here. First of all, what are we so fearful about? Because all of us have some or the other fear going on all the time. And the second thing is, how can hearing, chanting, and remembering the Supreme Lord remove that fear?
See, bhayam ditya abhinimeshasya dishadapetasya paryuto spritihi. When our consciousness is engrossed in something ditya, secondary to Krishna, it's Maya, fear arises. And the fear is for different people, for different things. And ultimately, the fear is of death. Death doesn't mean the death of the body, death of one's fame, death of one's wealth. So death of the body is generally called death. But death, losing something is a cause of one's fear or one's anxiety. Now, how by hearing about Krishna, remembering Krishna, you will be out of fear? When you hear about Krishna, then you're conscious of Krishna. When you remember Krishna, you're conscious of Krishna.
Mm.
When you worship Krishna, you're conscious of Krishna. When you chant the names of Krishna, you're conscious of Krishna. And what is the root cause of fear? Being unconscious of Krishna.
Mm.
Bhayam dvitiya abhinimesha syad viparya aspritihi. Bhayam. Bhaya means abhinivesha, means to be engrossed in maya, engrossed in matter.
Mm.
When you are engrossed in Krishna, no fear. When you are engrossed in matter, it's fear. So that is why hearing, chanting, and remembering the Lord, these are the activities by which one becomes fearless. Fearless. It is experienced that when somebody has fear, they come to temple, they tell they are feeling peaceful. They don't know who is God. They have not even heard, remembered God, they have no idea. But just because the vibrations of God are there, Krishna is there in the temple, immediately they feel very secure. I don't know how far it is true or is a fact or not. I read one article many years back. There was one person who had a high BP and he was in Jagannath Puri. The moment he comes in front of the temple and sees the Gopuram and Neela Chakra on Jagannath temple, the BP reduces.
Oh.
Because he has found the Ashraya. Krishna is the Ashraya. The moment one comes in contact with Ashraya, directly or indirectly, knowingly or unknowingly, immediately there is an aspect of fearlessness. So to be Krishna conscious means to be fearless, and not to be Krishna conscious, or if you're not Krishna conscious, then you are fearful. As simple as that.
So, Maharaj, how sensitive on the part of Sukadeva Goswami to a man, that is Maharaj Parikshit, who is about to die in 7 days, he speaks such hope-giving verses by giving the example of Katwanga Maharaj, saying that, oh Parikshit, you at least have 7 days, and Katwanga Maharaj had just a moment. So, how nicely, here in the 12th shloka, very nicely he's saying, Kim pramattasya bahubihi parokshairdhayanayriha varam muhurtam viditam gatate shreyase yataha. What is the value of a prolonged life which is wasted, inexperienced by years in this world? Better a moment of full consciousness because that gives one a start in searching after his supreme interest. So he's saying it is not the quantity of life but the quality of life that matters. So if you can say something about this matter.
See, Katwanga is a very special case. In Bhagavatam, every prasanga is a very special case and also a very extreme case. The purpose of this is to encourage and enthuse the sadhakas. Now, when the inspiration to bhakti is external, that is called sadhana bhakti or Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. So, for a person who is practicing Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, every day he requires some inspiration because he is dependent on the inspiration from outside, from the scriptures, from the sadhus. And Sukadeva Goswami, being a perfect guru, he is inspiring Parikshit Maharaj by giving the example of Katwanga. And also a person who is very sinful, if he is very fearful of how can I practice bhakti, he gives the example of Ajamil. Like that, every prasanga in the Bhagavatam is meant to encourage a person who is on the level of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti to continue his practice in spite of all his different apprehensions in his mind. So he had only 7 days. So there may be a question in the mind. The sages, they take thousands of years of meditation to realize God. How am I going to achieve this within 7 days? How is it possible? For that, Prahlad Maharaj also told the same. Tomara acharit prajno dharman bhagavataniha durlabam manusham janna tadapi adruvam. Adruvam api arthadam. It is adruvam. It is very temporary. But still arthadam. This body, human body, can give, da means to give, dada. What artha? The purpose for which the body, your human body has been given to you. What is the purpose? To attain perfection of life by attaining Krishna Prema. So this body can do that. You may say, it is only 7 days. Bhakti and attainment of Prema is not time dependent, but it is intensity dependent. So the intensity of performing bhakti arises in your heart by hearing the Bhagavatam. So don't think how long it is going to take. Always think of how intense I can be in my performance of bhakti. Rest leave it to Krishna. So it is not time dependent, but it is intensity dependent. That is what is to be understood.
Very wonderfully put, Maharaj. So Maharaj, now for a moment, going to Bhagavad Gita. Now Bhagavad Gita was a conversation, a divine dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. So no doubt Arjuna also was a pure devotee, but however he was put into the stage of bewilderment, and in order to remove that ignorance, bewilderment, Krishna speaks multiple things throughout the progression in Bhagavad Gita. He talks about, first of all, Sankhya Yoga, and then there is Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and of course Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and things like that. But however, in contrast to that, here Srimad Bhagavatam is also a conversation between a great devotee, a pure devotee, Maharaj Parikshit, and Sukadeva Goswami. But here, Maharaj Parikshit is not bewildered. He is quite stable. And given that it's a conversation between two pure devotees, and given that Parikshit Maharaj also has time constraint, he has only 7 days. Why does Sukadeva Goswami, in the next section of this chapter 1, that is a major section, shlokas 15 to the end, 39th shloka, he talks about Ashtanga Yoga as the first step in God realization. And later, just to give a hint to our viewers, audience, he also goes on to talk about Karma Kanda, there is Jnana Yoga, and things like that. So why would Sukadeva Goswami discuss topics like Ashtanga Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Kanda, given that they are both pure devotees and that given that there is a time constraint? Why not straight give Bhakti Yoga?
Because the Bhagavatam talks about, or in the first canto of Bhagavatam, the second question asked by the sage of Naimisharanya was, Bhurini Bhuri Karmani Shotavyani Vibhagashaha Ataha Sadhyatritsaram Samudrita Manisha Bhuri Bhadraya Bhutanam Enatma Suprasidati. Now there should be explanation of Bhurini Bhuri Karmani Shotavyani Vibhagashaha. The Vedas talk about different subject matters. Karma, Jnana, and Yoga. Now, somebody may say, somebody may think like this. What is this Bhurini Bhuri Karmani? What is there? What is Yoga? What is Karma? And what is Jnana? So there should be a description of them. And ultimately, there should be negation of them.
Okay.
So that is why in the first chapter, throughout the second chapter also, you have a description of the universal form of the Lord and Ashtanga Yoga. And ultimately, if you see at the end of the second chapter, Sukadeva Goswami gives his opinion. Second canto, second chapter, at the end, he says, पिबन्ति ये भागवतात्मनः सताम् कथामृतं श्रवणपुटेषु संवृतम् पुनन्ति ते विषयविदूषिताशयान् व्रजन्ति तच्चरणसरोरुहान्तिकम्. So he says, this is my opinion. Tasmat sarvatmana rajan hari sarvatra sarvada shrotavyah kirtitavyascha smartavyo bhagavan rinam. Tasmat means that is why. So initially he established bhakti, and somebody may ask a question about jnana, karma and yoga. Then he talks basically about yoga.
Okay.
Throughout the first chapter and also the second chapter. But the end, he gives his opinion. What is that opinion? Shrotavya kirtitavyascha smartavyo bhagavan rinam harir, who is sarvatra sarvada. Now, for those people who practice bhakti by pibanti, by drinking, a bhagavata atmanasatam, by hearing from the devotees. Now, katha amrita shravana puteshu samritam. This katha is filled with the nectarian beverage of Krishna prema. Who is that Krishna? Is beloved of his devotees. Purify the goal of life by shravana puteshu, by hearing. And those people, they attain the lotus feet of Krishna. So, whenever Bhagavatam is to be studied, you have to study keeping these three things in mind.
Okay.
Every verse, every word, every alphabet in Bhagavatam glorifies Krishna, glorifies Bhakti, glorifies Bhakta, directly or indirectly.
Okay.
Why say indirectly? How Ram can be glorified? Rama can be glorified only when you describe the power of Ravana. So without describing the power of Ravana, Rama's glories will not be really relishable or cannot be described in its fullest form. That is the reason we have these descriptions in the Bhagavatam.
Okay. Very nicely explained. So Maharaj, having now you've given the answer why Sukadeva Goswami spoke about Ashtanga Yoga and other processes. But now, in brief, if you can tell us what qualifies Ashtanga Yoga as the first step in God realization, who is this for? What is this process of Ashtanga Yoga? And what is the destination for one who takes up this process of Ashtanga Yoga?
Ashtanga Yoga, as described by Patanjali, is atheistic. Ashtanga Yoga is in Veda. But when Patanjali described it, that became atheistic because the purpose of Patanjali is not God realization. The purpose of Yoga Sutras by Patanjali is Yogaha Chittavrutti Nirodha. Is to balance the vrittis in your mind, make your mind very peaceful. That's all.
Okay.
And he talks about Paramatma, but his understanding of Paramatma is not the real Paramatma. But when the Ashtanga Yoga is described by Krishna in the 6th chapter, when Ashtanga is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, this Ashtanga has something to do with Bhakti.
Okay.
So, there is a theistic Ashtanga, there is a theistic Ashtanga. Theistic Ashtanga is what is described in this chapter.
Okay.
Now, who is qualified is the one who is disqualified, is qualified for that.
Okay.
This one who is disqualified for Bhakti is qualified for Ashtanga.
Okay.
Why is disqualified for Bhakti? Because he doesn't have his heart, which is sarala, simplicity of heart. Those who don't have simplicity in their heart, they try to do some complicated things. So for them, Ashtanga has been recommended so that they'll get tired and ultimately surrender to Krishna.
Okay.
So, not required for those who are simple at heart. Like Prabhupada said, chant and be happy.
Yeah. Nice, Maharaj. Very humorously put across. So, Maharaj, in the 8 steps, Ashta Anga, so there is Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. So, Maharaj Parikshit here, in the 22nd shloka, he is asking some pertinent questions in relation to Dharana. Rajovacha, Yata Sandharyate Brahman, Dharana Yatra Sammata, Yadrishi Vaharedasho, Purushasya Manomalam. The fortunate King Parikshit, inquiring further, said, O Brahmana, please describe in full detail how and where the mind has to be applied and how the conception can be fixed so that the dirty things in a person's mind can be removed. So Maharaj Parikshit is asking 3 questions. How is dharana accomplished? What is a bona fide dharana ashraya, the shelter of dharana? And how to quickly remove contaminations of mind? So it's very interesting that in answer to this, Sukadeva Goswami is giving a very elaborate description of the Virat Rupa, the universal form of Krishna. So Maharaj, going back to episode 11, I believe, where we discussed chapter 11 of Bhagavad Gita, you did a phenomenal job in how you were explaining about universal form. So I was just revisiting the starting portion of that just in preparation for this. So you had talked about how, first of all, Krishna's forms are unlimited. And you talked about Swayam Rupa, Tadekatma Rupa, Avesha Rupa, they are all the spiritual forms. And you also talked about Swa Amsha within the various incarnations of Krishna. And in Avesha Rupa, you talked about the 3 Purushavasaras, that is Karano Dakshai Vishnu, also called Mahavishnu. There is Garbho Dakshai Vishnu and Kshiro Dakshai Vishnu. And you said those 3 Purushavasaras are the spiritual universal forms. And then you said Krishna is actually talking about the material form, and you went on to explain why it is called material and why it is temporary. And now in this particular chapter, again, Shukadeva Goswami is going deeper. He is explaining all the different parts of Krishna, how they are the different aspects of the universe. So, what is the right approach in understanding this Virat Rupa? What is the relevance of understanding Virat Rupa in a devotee's life? So things like that, if you can please enlighten us.
So, Paramatma, who is mentioned in the 21st verse, if you see, Yasyam Sandharyamananam Yogino Bhakti Lakshanaha Asu Sampadyate Yoga Ashrayam Bhadramikshata. The process of dharana, the yogi who sees the Lord by dharana quickly completes Bhakti Mishra Yoga.
Okay.
Means that yoga which is mixed with bhakti. So now here that is a spiritual universal form which has been described in the 21st verse.
Okay.
Now concentration on universal form for removing the contamination, that is attraction and repulsion, is described. Now the gross universal form is being now described till the end. This is for those yogis who think that this whole world itself is God. For them, the mala is that world is God, and since if at all there is some form of the Lord, form should be material. If somebody has form, it should be material. So that is the mala.
Okay.
So if you talk about Krishna being Sachidananda, very difficult for them to accept. So superimpose their ignorance on the Supreme Lord and think, oh, God means it should be very big. And how it should be? It should be fierce form, it should be material only. So that is why the vibhutis are described. That means when they see the gigantic form of the Lord and can meditate on each and every limb, each and every aspect of the universal form, then gradually they come to the position of understanding, yes, there is something called transcendence. So that is the reason the whole world, 14 planetary systems, are compared to the form of the Lord itself.
Okay.
Like Patala, the soul, Rasatala, heel, Mahatala, ankles, Talatala is calves. So in this way, he goes on meditating. Then gradually he thinks, okay, now this cannot be possible. This cannot be human. And this is something transcendental. So to bring a yogi whose heart is contaminated, that mala, that there is nothing else in this world other than matter, to bring him to an understanding that there is something called transcendence, there is something called Satchitananda. This meditation has been recommended for those people, not for those who accept God has a transcendental form. For them, it is not required at all.
Okay. So Maharaj, now that we have completed our first segment, that is a bird's overview of the entire chapter. So now let's take a deep dive into shlokas 2, 3, and 4 about understanding Grihastha versus Grihamedi. So I'll just chant the second verse of this chapter. Shrotavyadini Rajendra Nrunam Santi Sahasrashah Apashyatam Atmatattvam Griheshu Grihamedhinam. Those persons who are materially engrossed, being blind to the knowledge of ultimate truth, have many subject matters for hearing in human society, O Emperor. So before getting into this Sahasrashaha Shrotavyadini, thousands of topics that a Grihamedi has to hear. First of all, Maharaj, Griha means household, we understand. But who is this Grihastha and who is Grihamedi?
Medhi means in our village, there is a place called Medhi, a center place. And then there will be a bull. It shall be going around. And then it will be, we produce water out of it, we produce something has to be grinded, water. That's called Medhi. The center part is called the Medhi.
Okay.
So Grihamedi is one who keeps Griha in the center and goes around like a bull, That means those are attracted or attached to the house, absorbed in all kinds of sins, so that they can enjoy house and the household affairs. Every time they just do anything, they think of house. My house. Or the people in my house. They are called Grihamedhi.
So what is this Sukadeva Goswami saying? Shrotavyadini Rajendra Nrunam Santi Sahasrashaha. They have thousands of topics to hear. So if you can give us a glimpse into what are those thousands of topics they are interested in hearing.
Anything other than Krishna Prakata. The word thousands means what? Unlimited. So thousands of topics means Ninam Santi Sahasrashaha means any other topic which is other than Krishna Katha or connected to Krishna Seva is thousands. Ignorance is not one variety. Ignorance has thousands of variety. Truth is one. Like you have mathematics problem. The solution will be one, answer will be one, but mistakes can be hundreds, thousands, millions. The same way, truth is one, but ignorance has many forms. So they basically is called dharma, artha, kama, moksha. There are 4 categories of ignorance. So, Shrotavyani Rajendra Nam Shanti Sahasra, though there are Sahasrasa, thousands of topics, but they are categorized within Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Within Dharma, different categories: Adharma, Vidharma, Chaladharma, and there is Kama, different kinds of Kama, different kinds of enjoyment. And there is Artha, different kinds of Artha, how to attain money, wealth. And ultimately, how many different kinds of frustrations can be there? Moksha. So that's what it is.
And in the very next verse, Sukadeva Goswami is is so brilliant. In one shloka, he exposes the lifestyle, the anatomy. He deconstructs the lifestyle of a Grihamedi. Nidraya hriyate naktam vyavayena cha vavayaha divacharte haya rajan kutumba bharanena va. The lifetime of such an envious householder is passed at night either in sleeping or in sex indulgence, and in the daytime either in making money or maintaining family members. So first of all, Maharaj, why is he called envious householder?
That is what which thrives. That is what which makes them thrive in material life. In my childhood, I used to sometimes watch TV. At that time, there was one advertisement used to come. Neighbors envy owner's pride.
Onida, yeah. Yes.
So if you buy this TV, then your neighbor will be envious of you. And you become so happy that he is so envious of you. And being envious of you, what will he buy? He'll buy a bigger TV. So that you will become envious of him. In this way, you will buy a bigger TV or something else.
Yeah.
So in this way, what is happening? Our sales are increasing, and because of your envy. Actually, everybody can be happy with nothing. Actually,
Wow, what a statement.
but still, you want something not because you want it, because somebody else has it. You want because somebody else has it. If you don't know that person has, you're happy with that. So that is why envy is by default.
Okay.
Has to be there. Otherwise, you just cannot be a householder. One who holds the house.
Yeah.
Householder. If you're envious, you want to hold the house. Yes, I want to show my house is better than your house. So if you're not envious, then you consider everybody house of yours, your house. Sudhaiva kutumbakam. That's sky. That's why we call envious householder.
We're all exposed. So what is the version of Grihamedi's hard work? Poor fellow, fellow or woman, whoever. They're working so hard. And then, so what is their version of hard work? And why is that hard work being condemned? And why does that hard work never satisfy them?
See, night is unsuitable for action. So you sleep at night. Or it is into spending into sex life. But now in the daytime, what happens? Arthehaya. For the purpose of Artha, he works hard. Nor support family members, because in Karma Yoga, one is obliged to support the family. For that purpose, he works hard and hard and hard. And the same family members for whom he is working hard, when they reject him, that is the time he thinks of moksha. So that is why all the hard work what you do in your life is useless, because nobody will be happy for what you have done for them.
True.
Neither they'll be grateful for what you have done for them. There's no gratefulness. They'll be always finding some fault or some deficiency or other. So there's no use. If at all you are a householder, just do your duty and get out. Don't expect that they'll be happy because of what you have done. They'll never be happy. Neither they'll be grateful for doing anything for yours. Because by nature they are envious. So just do your duty and get lost.
Okay. And in the fourth shloka, this illusion of security is what Sukadeva Goswami is explaining. Deha patya kalatradishu atma sainyeshva satsvapi tesham pramatto nidhanam pashyan apina pashyati. Persons devoid of Atma Tattva do not inquire into the problems of life, being too attached to the fallible soldiers like the body, children, and wife. Although sufficiently experienced, they still do not see their inevitable destruction. So, Maharaj, this sense of security that one finds, that my body will protect me, my children will protect me, my wife will protect me, I absolutely love the term used here by Prabhupada. Fallible soldiers. They are soldiers, but they are going to fail. So, if you can say something about this sense of security.
So what is the meaning of apashyatam atmatattvam? They are not able to see the nature of Atma. What is the nature of Atma? Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha, vyorvadrashtontastanyo satadarshavihi. The nature of Atma is na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha. When you don't see the Atma Tattva, that is the permanent nature of the soul, immediately you start thinking of the body, which is going to be destroyed. And you have the experience of the destruction of the body for many, many lifetimes. So what do you want? Your family members to protect the body. They cannot. And with the expectation that they will protect me, he works hard for them. Like a nation which is investing a lot of money on the soldiers who cannot protect you. That is the situation.
Okay.
You have great hope that your army will protect, but they cannot. Even though they want, they cannot protect, because they themselves are asat.
Okay.
They're always destroyed by time. So Prahlad Maharaj also says the same thing. See, ultimate protector is Krishna. Sometimes it so happens their parents who gave birth to the child dies in front of the parent in the hospital with the doctors. Sometimes a baby is lying in the forest and nobody to take care, but still survives. You keep a lot of money in the tijori, in your safe, in your house, a lot of security and all. Still, a thief will come and steal. Sometimes you're going in the forest and you forget a bag or a lot of wealth, maybe some jewels in some place. And after 1 year also you come and say, it may be there. Sometimes the best of the medicines cannot save the patient, but sometimes it so happens. Without medicine also a person gets recovered.
Yeah.
So to understand that the ultimate protector is Krishna, he is the basis of spiritual life. With your family members, you can do your duty, but not have any hope.
Wow. Why Pashyan api na pashyati? Although seeing, we are still not seeing. What is going on here?
That is what Yudhishthira Maharaj, when he was asked by Yaksha, what is the greatest Ascharya? Ahani Bhutani Gachanti Himalayam. They are seeing everybody going to Himalaya, dying every day. Anyaha Staramichanti, everybody thinks that I am permanent. Say Pashyannapi, even though seeing that people are dying, even though seeing that in that family, the father, he worked hard for the children, and the same children drove him out of the house. There was one video which came out, one big businessman in India who had developed a big empire, and the son drove his parents out of their own house, and they had to stay in a hotel room, and they sing a song. I don't know which company they belong to, big company. I don't know. So somebody showed me that they are singing a song, and ultimately he says, he gives advice to all the parents: never ever give your property to your children. While living, never ever transfer your property to the name of the children. That's the advice he gives. He's not just a poor man, he's a big businessman. Raymond's.
Okay.
So, Pashyan, even though they're seeing, but still, na pashyati. They think, oh, my children are very good. Oh, my wife is good, my husband is good. Pashyan napi na pashyati.
So, Maharaj, in contrast to this, who is a grihastha? How are they different?
Grihastha means, I've already given the formula for grihastha. One who does his duty and never has any hope or any expectation that all the people who are so-called family members are going to help me in any way. I just do my duty for them as much as possible and do Dandavat Pranam for them. That's all.
Okay.
And then becomes Krishna conscious.
Yeah.
That's Grihastha.
Okay. So, Maharaj, moving on to the third segment, that is the practical application. So, if you can quickly tell us, what are 3 specific things? Somebody who is listening to this, they are thinking that I don't want to be a Grihamedi, I want to be a Grihastha, and I want to start now. So, what are 3 immediate things they can start doing to move from being a Grihamedi to Grihastha?
Whatever our Sukadeva Goswami told Parikshit Maharaj, Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Harihi Shrotavyaha Kirtitavyaha Tirtavyascha Smaratavya. 3 things. Already has spoken. Just do these 3 things. Hear Bhagavatam. Shrotavya. Speak Bhagavatam to your family members. If they're interested, well and good. Not interested, well and good. Smaratavya. When somebody is shouting at you, think of Bhagavatam. That's all.
Okay. And the next, Maharaj, what can parents do to raise their children in such a way that they don't become sense enjoyers, but they become servants of Krishna?
Children imitate parents.
Okay.
So you become Krishna conscious, they also will become Krishna conscious. Many times it so happens, the mother would be watching the TV along with the daughter and say, hey, go to your room and study it. Exams are coming. Just imagine, that daughter will develop so much of hatred. You are watching TV and you're asking to go and study. She goes out of respect, but the grudge and hatred develops. The same way, you be Krishna conscious and they'll become Krishna conscious. Ultimately, nice. Krishna consciousness, you can only give opportunity.
Okay.
So by being Krishna conscious, you are giving an opportunity and encouragement for your children.
Very nice, Maharaj. Very nicely put. So, Maharaj, moving on to the last segment, that is our rapid fire section, that is called the Brahmastra. So, since today's topic, the chapter title was the first step in God realization. So I thought, why not Brahmastra theme also will be first step. So I'll just mention first step in various things, and whatever comes to your mind, you can quickly respond. So the first thing is first step in getting extra prasadam.
Become a sannyasi.
Oh, okay.
Sannyas and oh bro, they keep so many items.
Okay, nice, very nice. First step in chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra attentively.
Oh, every day is a new step only.
Yeah.
The first step is to get up early in the morning.
I was thinking
If you
of
get
it.
up early in the morning, you can do it. Otherwise, you'll be going on
Yeah.
taking steps.
Yeah, very, very true. Okay. The first step for a confused teenager.
Don't be a teenager.
What do you mean by that?
How long you want to be a teenager?
Hmm.
Become a man.
Okay.
Teenager means always confused.
Nice. The next one, the first step in understanding Bhagavatam.
Sit and hear.
Okay. The first step into sannyasa mindset.
Sannyasa mindset.
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 Yeah.
Give a donation.
Okay.
Don't start.
Yes.
Give money to Krishna. Give money to build temples.
Yeah. So the first step when everything seems to be failing in one's life.
Yeah, that is the first step towards surrender.
And in contrast to this, the first step when everything seems to be flourishing in your life, whatever is you're touching is turning gold.
Yeah, that is the first step of your uh, area of seva to Krishna.
Wow, beautiful. Okay, nice. The first step in controlling anger.
Yeah, be angry. Speak out.
Speak out.
But to the person whom you have love and trust.
Okay. The first step in living simply. Simple life.
Join an yatra.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay. The first step to becoming a preacher.
Yeah, you sit in front of the mirror and give class.
Oh, nice. We're giving to ourselves first.
And practice also.
Yes.
And that's what I did. In my ship, I used to do that.
Yeah. So did I actually. Very nice. The next one. The first step after a quote unquote fall down in Krishna consciousness.
Get up.
Mm.
Stand up.
Yeah.
Every fall down has a hope.
Yes. The first step in recognizing Maya.
Oh, that's a big step, not a first step.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're in Maya,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Maya. And to recognize that I'm in Maya is the first step, a great step, a big step, because that makes you humble. You're recognizing that I'm in Maya, I'm afflicted by Maya, That is the first sign of Krishna consciousness. You're humble.
Wow. Okay. The last one, Maharaj. The first step in realizing that we are not the body.
Oh, first step in realizing that we are not the body. Yeah, I don't know. What is the first step in that? Definitely, we can say the first step in realizing that those who are connected to the body are not ours. Mama.
Yes.
Then when your children don't listen to you, when your husband or wife become they become angry on you, they insult you or they leave you or something like that. At that time, oh, nobody belongs to me. Then ultimately you get the realization that this body doesn't belong to me. First get rid of this mama and then aham will go away.
Wow. Nice. Awesome, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Amazing. As always, Maharaj, I deeply admire the clarity and the depth with which you give answers. So spontaneous, such wonderful answers. Really relished it. I was really missing for the last few weeks doing this Pariprashna, and I'm so glad that we are restarting this in a new avatar. So thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much. Really, really appreciate your time and wisdom. So, Hare Krishna, dear Pariprashna viewers, dear devotees. So, this is the first step in God realization that we have discussed. But I humbly request that with every step of Pariprashna, please be a part of this journey and also take the first step in letting others know that we are restarting Pariprashna in a new avatar. Bring more people so they can also watch. It is available on Aradhana online. I'll drop the link. So, thank you very much. So, in the next chapter, we will see what is the next step in God realization. So, our journey will continue. So until next week, please stay inquisitive and stay Krishna conscious. We'll catch you very soon. Take care. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.